Ever find yourself driving on a dark, rainy night and those lines on the road, the ones, they're suddenly like lifesavers?
Yeah, it's incredible how important something we kind of take for granted becomes when visibility is low.
Totally. Makes you appreciate the people who put those markings there, the road markers. So today, we're going to do a deep dive into that world.
It's more intricate than you might think.
Right. And we're using RoleCatcher as our guide. They've got all these insights on different career paths.
What's fascinating about road marking is, well, there's a lot more to it than just, painting lines.
It's not just about slapping down some paint, is it?
Nope. We're talking specialized machinery, those reflective elements like cat's eyes that you see on the road, a whole understanding of traffic flow, even material science comes into play.
Wow, so it's like a blend of physical work, but also real precision.
Exactly. And like with everything else, technology's changing how it's all done.
What kind of tech are we talking about here?
Well, RoleCatcher mentions things like automated marking machines.
Oh, cool. So instead of a paintbrush, it's more like,
Think those huge printers, but instead of on paper, they're laying down road markings.
that's wild. And I'm guessing GPS plays a role too, right?
Absolutely. Got to have that precision, making sure those lines are exactly where they need to be.
It's like you need the skills to handle the tools, but also to work with all this tech.
Exactly. And it's a field with a lot of potential, especially if you like that mix of hands-on work and staying up to date with technology.
Makes sense. Roads aren't going anywhere, and they're going to need markings.
Huh.
So we've established road marking is a lot more complex than it seems. But what if someone listening is intrigued? Like, what does a career path in this field even look like?
Well, there's actually a pretty clear progression ladder in this field, you might be surprised to learn. Opportunities to take on more responsibility, even shape the future of road marking.
Wait, really? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so you start out as an entry-level road marker, kind of like an apprenticeship.
Okay, so you're getting your hands dirty, learning the ropes.
Exactly, getting comfortable with the equipment, assisting the more experienced folks.
So it's a lot of learning on the job, building that foundation.
Right, and then you typically move up to junior road marker.
What does it look like day to day?
More independence, for one thing.
Okay, so you're not just shadowing anymore.
You're trusted to operate the machinery, apply the markings on your own.
Cool. So more responsibility.
Definitely. And you're starting to collaborate more with the team, even mentoring newer colleagues coming in.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just about doing the work, it's about sharing the knowledge too.
Exactly. And then you hit that experienced road marker level. That's where things get really interesting.
I bet. What kind of things are we talking about here?
Well, now you're not just responsible for your own work, you might be overseeing entire projects.
Wow. So like a management role almost.
Kinda. Think of it like you're the conductor of an orchestra, making sure everyone's in sync, hitting their marks.
That's a great analogy. So you're managing projects, managing people, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, and you're also that crucial link between the team on the ground and the higher ups calling the shots.
Right. So you have a lot of responsibility, but also a lot of influence at that level.
And then eventually you could become a senior road marker.
Okay. So this is like the top of the mountain. What's it like up there?
It's where you have the potential to shape not just individual projects, but kind of broader industry standards.
Whoa. Really? How so?
Well, imagine being the person who's consulting with, like, government agencies,
Okay. I'm listening.
and you're advising them on, say, whether roundabouts should be the new standard instead of traditional intersections.
That's a big decision.
Or what are the best materials to use for road markings in different climates? Rain, snow, heat, all that.
All right. It's got to hold up in all conditions.
Your expertise could even lead you into research and development, exploring new technologies, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the field.
So you're not just maintaining roads, you're shaping the future of road marking.
Exactly. It's about seeing that bigger picture.
That's amazing. From painting lines to influencing policy, that's quite the career trajectory. So for our listeners who are now like, okay, sign me up, what? What does it take to actually get started in this field?
Well, the good news is you don't necessarily need a fancy degree to get your foot in the door.
That's always good to hear. So it's more about practical experience than formal education.
Absolutely. Hands-on experience is key.
Where do you even start getting that experience?
A good way to break in is to look for related entry-level positions, things like construction work.
Okay, so get some experience in a related field. Show that you're not afraid of hard work.
Right. You'll learn valuable skills, get familiar with the environment. It'll show potential employers you're serious.
And speaking of finding those opportunities, that's where a resource like RoleCatcher can be super helpful, right?
Totally. They've got all those career guides, interview tips, even a huge database of interview questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's got to be a game changer for someone trying to stand out in a competitive job market.
It really can. They can help you craft the perfect resume, practice your interview skills, even connect with potential employers directly.
You know, this whole deep dive has really opened my eyes to how important road markings are. I remember driving home late one night, dark, winding road, and those reflective markers, lifesavers. Seriously.
It's easy to overlook those things until you realize how crucial they are for our safety, for keeping traffic flowing smoothly.
Absolutely. And it makes you appreciate all those skilled trades out there, even if they're kind of invisible to us most of the time.
For sure.
But what happens when we start talking about the roads of the future? We touched upon technology trends and road marking, but how might autonomous vehicles change things?
Oh, that's a fascinating question. Will self-driving cars rely on the same visual cues that humans do? Or will they need something completely different?
Right. Well, we need even more precise markings, or maybe a whole new system altogether.
It really makes you wonder, right? Like, will they need markings that can communicate stuff that maybe human drivers just instinctively know?
Yeah, like lane changes, speed limits, maybe even hazards up ahead.
Exactly. Or think about this. What if they don't even use physical markings at all?
Oh, you're talking like digital signals, something like that?
Right, sent straight to their navigation systems.
Like we're so focused on the cars themselves, we forget the roads might need a complete overhaul too.
And who better to design those roads of the future than the people who are experts in road marking right now?
Now, that's something to think about. So next time we're all out there driving along, see those lines,
Yeah.
let's take a second, appreciate the skill, the precision, and of course the people behind it all.
It's definitely a career path with way more depth, way more impact than most people realize.
For sure. And hey, whether you're thinking about road marking or anything else, resources like RoleCatcher, they could be a huge help.
Yeah, those career crossroads can be tricky to navigate.
This has been a fascinating deep dive, wouldn't you say? Learned a lot.
Me too. It's always amazing what we can discover when we take a closer look at those everyday things we usually just kind of, take for granted.
Couldn't agree more. Until next time, everyone, keep those questions coming, and we'll keep diving deep.